Hi, I'm Nick, the Awkward Yeti, and this is another Patreon Creator Chronicles, and today I'm talking about the role of mental health in my comics. When I first started my comic, The Awkward Yeti, it was sort of an autobiographical comic. It was about me and the little nuanced behaviors that I thought I was experiencing that might lead people to think that I was a little bit awkward. And one thing that I noticed is that I had strange reactions to people that lacked a certain self-awareness, and this happened a lot, especially in my old job, where there are certain roles that people play and certain ways that people talk, and there's a lot of small talk and a lot of superficial manipulative behavior. And I found when you see through all of that, it can be very uncomfortable. And so a lot of times I would just freeze up. And one day somebody commented on my awkwardness, and I thought, wow, all this time I thought you were all so awkward, but it's my reactions to it that are making me awkward. Or maybe I can't make eye contact with somebody because I am so blown away by how little self-awareness the person may have. So I started making the comic and pointing out a lot of these nuances in myself and trying to work through them. And a lot of it was just to be more polite, to make better eye contact and to make small talk and appreciate that for some people that's just how they're getting through their day. So the Awkward Eddie has always been a source of therapy for me, and especially when Brain was first introduced with Lars, I started touching on anxiety and depression a lot. These are things I'm very familiar with and have been for a very long time, and it helped to pick apart very small things, just like really specific behaviors or thoughts that were coming into my head. And as soon as I would call them out, whether I was able to work through them or not, it's hard to say, but it would always make me laugh. It was funny. I started to learn to really laugh at myself, and that ended up being really great therapy. And so with Heart and Brain, obviously, there's a lot of joking about impulsiveness and decision making and desires versus practicality and all these things. And I have found that they're very therapeutic for me, as you could imagine. And what's really great is that it's been therapeutic for a lot of you who relate to these things in ways maybe you didn't think about it, or maybe you just thought you were alone in the way that you thought. And now you get to see, wow, this is a pretty normal thing, and it's okay to have this little quirk. And once you acknowledge these things, it becomes a lot easier to work through the ones that you want to work through. And some of them might just be charming, so you can keep the charming ones. But if it's self-destructive or destructive to other people, I think this is a really good way for me and hopefully for some of you to work through them. And same with the medical comics. I think I'm very into dark humor. I think that life is meant to be fun and laughed at. We all have a lot of bad things to deal with. I've had panic attacks, and so while some people may be very sensitive about this subject, I made a game called Anxiety Attack because I want to laugh about it. And the more that I laugh about it, the better I get. I also noticed one time a few years ago, somebody pointed out that I sounded like I had ADD. And I thought, well, how dare you? How dare you diagnose me from a comic? Well, fast forward a couple of years and I am being treated for ADD. And by the way, I had a lot of general anxiety, and when I started being treated for it, most of my general anxiety disappeared because a lot of what was happening was this inability to focus and make very small decisions. And so I was sort of crippled by these thoughts about what I should be doing. And I still get plenty of anxiety, don't worry, about all the normal things, and maybe even a little bit more than normal people, but that made a huge difference for me. And so maybe you'll see a little bit more about that. So if you see a comic that comes out and you think, oh, I hope he's okay, or you ask me, are you doing okay? Chances are I'm already doing better because I made that comic. Just by calling these things out, just by writing out these feelings or thoughts that I might have, I'm probably already making a big improvement. So don't worry about me. Maybe a couple weeks ago I was having an issue, but that's what helps me work through it. It is my therapy, and I hope for some of you it can be therapy for you as well. I think entertainment is a great way to work through things. So thank you for reading, thank you for watching my Creator Chronicles, and if you'd like to support my work go to patreon.com/theawkwardyeti.